A teacher who knows how to explain in the most difficult situation. A teacher that can reach the conscience of moral decay mentalities and give new birth to their mind. We thank Allah for blessing us with this leadership from among us. Not a foreigner to us, but one from among us. And we know the importance of leadership. The head is the most precious part of our body. And we treat our head with respect. We don't treat it any kind of way. We don't throw it around. Not protect it from the cold or the rain. Even when we rest in the evening, we put 2 big plush pillows, ease our head down because it's precious. And this is how we treat our head. So all praises is due to Allah. We thank Allah for giving us this precious leadership that we have in Imam W. Deen Muhammad. Takbir.
Assalamu alaikum. Let his peace be unto you. We acknowledge the mercy and blessing of Allah. We bear witness that there is none worthy of worship except Allah, that is God alone. And we bear witness that Muhammad, to whom the Quran was revealed for the good of all people, of the believers, all people, is his servant and his messenger. We pray the peace and the blessings of Allah be upon him and upon his descendants, his companions, the righteous, and upon us. Be peace. Ameen. We thank Allah for the opportunity to be here in Newark, New Jersey, at this facility with the Muslims of the area, and we hope that his blessings remain on us always. We seek him for the results that we desire, and we aim to satisfy his will, his purpose, to please him. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. That is in the name of God, the gracious, the compassionate. We attend now the concerns of this address. Recently, some influential leaders attended a quiet meeting on Chicago's South Side. My presence made me aware of an unnecessary distance between Muslim efforts and Christian efforts in the neighborhood and in the city. Our community is our life. It is our shared life. Our community is also our interest, our shared interest. We have in our hearts and our purpose the good of our community, the good of our Muslim community. But we also share the responsibility with non-Muslims for the whole space, area, town or city that we share, that we live in together. For Muslims, most important perception of life is community. There's no hope for the individual without that existing, that is community. Our social scientists those who study the history of human societies, the needs of the individual in human society, have made it known to us that the simple functions of a human being, such as speech, communication, would not be possible without that person being a member of a community. We learn to speak the language because we are a member of a community. In the community of our family, our mother, our sisters, our brothers, relatives, close relatives, associates, we learn to function as a human being. It has been documented that where certain beings have been deprived of an opportunity to grow up, to develop in a human community, they did not reach that human plane of life and expression. They were found without speech, without human speech, and without human posture, without human sensitivities. So community is for us the most important perception. We are to perceive ourselves, to see ourselves, first of all, as a community. And Allah Most High says to us in His holy book, you are the best community brought out for the good of all people. So at this point, I would like to also make it clear that our religion, like Christianity and certain other universal persuasions, is a declaration for the whole world. It is a global declaration. We must think then of ourselves first of all as people with a share of this globe, born on this planet with a share of this globe. And Allah, our Lord, the same Lord who revealed to Moses, who revealed to Abraham before Moses, and who revealed to Jesus, peace be upon all the prophets, the same Lord that revealed the Quran, made it possible for us to come into this religion, chose us to be Muslim. The same Lord intended that we have a global mission, if I may use that term, a global mission. And it is this recognition of our global mission that puts us in the best situation to accomplish things at hand. I believe that people are small because their vision of themselves is small. Once people come into the proper vision of themselves, they have an influence and a motivating force in their life to enable them to meet any task they may come into or encounter in their private or local situations. We perform poorly at home because we do not properly see ourselves. We do not properly see our role in the creation of God. Muslims are required to keep the global life in focus. We cannot view our situation without viewing the whole situation for man. No man is an island, we have heard. No community can exist in isolation from the rest of the world, we have heard. And we must accept that as Muslims, that no man is an island and no community can exist separated from the rest of the world. As population has increased, technology advanced, we have been forced into a one-room world. The world has become one room. You may live in China and another man in America, but technology and the increased population and increased problems for increased population have brought all of our concerns to us on television. We look at television and we are forced to hear what other people are saying. We are forced to view their situations. We are forced to hear their cries and to understand or to know their pains. And this increases the burden of responsibility on the citizens who share that kind of mortal situation. It is burdensome to get bad news from all of our relatives, especially when you're part of a very big family. If you're part of a very big family, occasionally and sometimes too often you'll be getting bad news. And it puts a burden on us. But we're able to survive it. We're able to live through it. Now we are forced, because of the progress of the world and technology, etc., we are forced now to receive the news of the whole world. If there's an earthquake, and recently there was one in South America, and it takes thousands of lives, we're forced to hear that. We're forced to know about that. We're forced to look at the babies that are destroyed. It puts a great burden on sensitive human beings. But we are prepared for that. God intended that we share that great burden. He intended that we be members of a global world, a global society. And he has said to us in his holy book, cannot you see that the earth, the sky, the creation was once one whole, and God caused it to be separated? So Allah is not telling us the world is separated, Sky is separated from earth. Planets are separated from each other. The masses are separated from leaders. Continents and towns are separated from each other. That's not what Allah is telling us here. Allah is telling us that the essential character of His creation is unity. That He made one creation. And no matter how much division we see, how great the separations are, the important understanding to come to is that there is a unity, there is a wholeness, there is a sameness. And it will obligate us and force us to register that reality that the world is one and man is one. After we understand that truth about our situation, our condition and circumstances here on this globe, then we can start to address problems near to us. We know the natural way for man to progress is to begin with himself and go out to others. But we reach a point in the growth of man that it is not best to come to self and then go out to others. It is best to go out to others and then come to self. When there is no situation more important in determining your situation, in influencing your situation, then the immediate situation for you or the immediate things in your immediate situation, then you will have no difficulty looking at yourself and then looking at your situation. But when things outside of you, outside of your immediate situation, begin to have more influence upon you and your situation than anything in your immediate situation, then it's best to look out there and then look in here. And I believe that we are failing to make the progress that we feel in our hearts and souls that we are capable of making. I'm talking about what you call poor folks, disadvantaged folks, underclass, whatever term we want to use. I'm not talking about the black man right now. I'm talking about people in bad situation. All right? Yes. So I think the reason why we fail to realize the effectiveness that we feel in our hearts and souls, that we can realize, is that we're approaching the problem in the way that man approached the problem when he was first put in the earth. See, Adam had nothing to look at but himself. So Adam just looked at himself until God put him to sleep. And he woke up. When he woke up, there was more around him than himself. So he began to busy himself with something outside of himself. We make the big mistake of thinking that the way to solve a problem is to go directly to the problem. That's not always the case. Because sometimes it is necessary for you to go away from the problem to see the problem. For a long time we've been in the United States, and we didn't know we had all the problems we have now and that we are aware of. I remember the kinds of complaints we used to make when I was a boy. Oh, they are nothing compared to the complaints we make now. And we were still here, we were still people, we were still very intelligent. In fact, we might have had more intelligence than we have now. But we were just not favored to see a bigger situation. We have family concerns. We have employment concerns, work concerns. We have many concerns. And sometimes we think that the way to improve our life or to improve the situation is to go directly to the concern. We know that family life is not in good repair, not only for African Americans, but for most people in the United States, and perhaps in the whole Western society, the whole Western world. And it's spreading on to the East, to the Third World. Maybe we would be better off if we said, now maybe it's time to rethink everything. Maybe it's time to register what's happening outside of our situation. And if we start to do that, I believe we'll soon be better prepared to handle the problems in our immediate situation. Whether it's the home, the family, the home, the neighborhood, the job, or whatever. Our concern is respect and appreciation for property. We know that the neglect, property neglect, the neglect in our lives for property keeps us down. It's one of the factors keeping us down. If we had a better appreciation for property, a better respect for property, we know that the poor would be in better situation, would be better off. But something so far away from our awareness, something as abstract as beauty for many of us, beauty, may be the cause for the rest of our problems. Too many of us don't appreciate beauty anymore. And when you lose an appreciation for beauty, you lose respect for quality life. Because there's that sensitivity in us, that appreciation for beauty that made us want to have quality life. We didn't know in the very early stages of man's civilization, the development of his civilization, we didn't know that it's ugly not to have enough calcium. It's ugly not to have enough potassium. What I mean by that, it's bad not to have enough of those things. But we knew ugliness and beauty. We knew ugliness and beauty. And beauty made us want to see health in a person. Beauty made us want to see kindness in people. See, that's ugly behavior. That's what the folks used to say. That's ugly behavior. So if we don't have appreciation for beauty, we lose appreciation for the quality of life. We have all this effort to bring back the quality of life. Maybe the real problems are not right there where we are seeing them. Maybe, as I said, we need to rethink the whole matter again. We need to get a view of ourselves in the total creation again. We need to see our role in the total creation again. We need to see our place in this external world again. We need to know ourselves in the context of the universe again. We need to look outside of ourselves again to see what we are all about in our little sphere of activity. And when we do that, we can think better. Doing that will make us think better. We will be more effective. We will begin to appreciate progressional life. We will begin to appreciate the wholeness of life. We will begin to appreciate methodical life. Because when we look out there beyond, we may be all messed up here in our private situation. But if we'll take a look at the whole universe, we're going to see order, discipline, laws, methods, and a bigger thing than what we see in our small selves. And that will turn us on. That will give us life again. That will excite our intellect again. That will raise the dead. Yes, that will raise the dead. You got your life from a good situation in material existence. Huh? Yes, you put a dead seed in dead earth and leave it in the dead environment, and the right kind of things happen, and there's life from the dead. We think we have to go out in space and suspend ourselves up there in our own thoughts to raise the dead. No, the dead will be only mummified up there. The dead is raised down here. Well, I don't know. See, when you lose appreciation for simple things like beauty, your pleasures become ugly. And that's another reason why the low performers don't get out of their rut. It's because they don't have the healthy appreciation for beauty, and their amusement have become ugly. And they seek amusement just for quick gratification. Men used to appreciate music, not for its immediate gratification only. In fact, they weren't so much into its immediate reward. They appreciated music because they saw it as something that improved the spirit of man. They saw it as part of the beauty of God, part of the beauty of the things that he made possible in creating this world. They saw it as something that was happening not only with them, they were trying to get in tune with something bigger than themselves and their small instrument. They enjoyed the music as part of the music of a universe, as part of the music of a bigger world than their own. And because of that, they valued and treasured the music. Look what our performers started to do just a few years ago. What was it, about 15, 20 years ago? They would play and excite their fans and then drive their fans to a frenzy by breaking up their instruments. They would take the guitar and bang and break it all up. Break up their instruments. Or isn't that what many of us are doing? When we are enjoying our life, we're breaking up our instrument. We can't get enough pleasure out of just life, simple life. So we say, oh, let me break up my instrument. So we carry the pleasure to a perverted end. And we become sick and crazy. We abuse ourselves. And we come back home and we're not ready to go to work Monday. We're in no situation, we're in no condition to go to work Monday. The mother is asking the father for something and the father can't even hear it. He's in no situation to listen to the concerns of the household. The child is going to destruction and the father has no patience to even listen to the problem of that situation because he's just been wiped out by the fun that he had last night. Yeah, that's destroying your instrument, isn't it? Enjoying it and destroying it. And getting excitement while you're doing that. So we need to come back to natural life. And Allah has made us more aware of the importance of natural life. I was at a meeting, a tribute to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, my late father, whose positive works are monumental. I was at that tribute, and I know many people say, why did he go there? Well, there was a way for me to go, and a time for me to go, and a condition for me to go, and the occasion was worth me going. I was there. And felt it my duty. Now, there on the platform at that tribute was an Indian, an American Indian. And he had his wife with him and a couple other Indian brothers, members of his order. And I looked at them and thought about the situation, and I said to myself, when people can come together for a common purpose, common cause, and see something bigger than themselves calling themselves, requiring their time, their attention, their energies, they're in a good situation. But when they can't do that, they're in a bad situation. They're in a bad situation. Now, I'd like to go a little deeper in the water now. I find also that there are concerns of identity and power, or authority, or command. Identity and command, working in human life, and they aid each other as we progress in our understanding of our identity. It puts us in a situation to progress also in our ability to take charge, to command our life, to command our situation. These two concerns operate as codependents. We have been occupied as a people by the need to identify ourselves. We have called ourselves by the names that we were given over here in this part of the world, separated from ancestors and past history. We have identified ourselves with their names, with the names we were given: Negro, colored people. And with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, we began to call ourselves black people. Many of us don't know that it was with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad that we began to call ourselves black people. Before him, we went by other names: Negro, colored people, Afro-Americans. But it wasn't until the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's leadership that we came to call ourselves black and black people. Whether we buy that or not, because someone will tell me Negro means black. But when you're calling yourself something by a name you don't know, then it doesn't matter. And most of us didn't know Negro meant black. You're forced to study Spanish now. That's how come you know Negro means black. But we will, I'm sure, all acknowledge that identity is a great burden on African American people. is so much of a burden that many of us have given up on it. Say, well, I'm not going to bother about that identity no more. And maybe that's the best thing to do, who knows? Maybe if we start living, we will grow into an identity that will not give us a problem. But for now, we have to think about identity, because I'm thinking about identity not only in that frame of reference, but I'm thinking of identity now in the universal frame of reference. We need to identify ourselves in the universal frame of reference. And when you identify yourself in the universal frame of reference, you're going to come up with an identity that all men share. And that's the first identity. That's the first identity. That's the best identity. Coming into that identity will give you a sense of responsibility that you never had before, unless you've already come into that kind of identity. Coming into that identity will give you a sense of security you've never had before, unless you've come into that kind of identity. It will give you a sense of authority, purpose and authority that you've never had before, unless you've come into that kind of identity. Yes, simple philosophical things like this can be the answer to no jobs, poor families, high death rate, too many children born to children, etc. Yes, this is the kind of thinking we need to do. We need to go back, get back away from welfare. Step back, get back away from welfare. Get back of this obsession with the white man. Get back from that. Stop seeing the white man as so important in your life, in your affairs, in your future. Step away from it all and start rethinking. Just think the whole life again. All of us have been created with the potential, with intelligence for that. All of us have a natural urge to do that. If you will just put down the wine bottle for a minute. And I don't mean the wine bottle you buy at the store. The wine bottle you buy with the hand of confusion. And you select something that's bad for yourself, and you turn down something that's good for yourself because you don't have anything to select with but the hand of confusion. Yes, if you can come to the identity that God intended for you, for God did not make you a Negro first. God did not make you a black man first. God first made you a universal man. And time and circumstances and conditions made you a Negro and made you a black man. Perhaps some of you have seen the show that they had, the program. Very interesting program. Very interesting program, especially for us Muslims and nationalists and other people that like to think past and present and the future. You know, we like to think in 3 dimensions. It's a program by Ali Mezroi, The Africans, showing on public television. And the college students can get credit for the program. All they have to do is call the college that is advertised at the end of the program, and they can get credits, college credits. This man, he says, who told us, or who established that Islam is not an African religion? And he went on to say that 5 million years ago, something happened in the geological crust or something of the earth, and caused a small separation that separates Arabia from Africa. And he said, but that didn't really make Africa and Arabia two different places. So what did it was European power. He says European power gave its map to Africa and to Arabia. We know that Prophet Muhammad, when he was persecuted in Mecca, he went to Ethiopia. He didn't go himself, but he sent some of his followers to Ethiopia to get help, to get protection. We know that he was invited by the people of Medina, which is about 200 or so miles from Mecca, on the same peninsula, as we now understand it. Say, well, Arabia is a peninsula and Africa is a continent. Depends on how you look at it. Because that same program says Africa is the biggest island on the earth. It is surrounded by water. So it depends on how you're looking at it, right? And that wouldn't justify us not looking at this the way we're looking at it anyway, because the continent of India hangs down by itself, but yet it's Asia. The continent of India is much more separated from Asia, from the mass of Asia, than Arabia is separated from the mass of Africa. But they didn't choose to say India is not Asia, or not Asia, but they chose to say that Arabia is not Africa. If you know what has happened to us in our history, and not only to us, to Hispanics now, who are trying to get their due respect as citizens of America. If we know what has happened to us in the process of trying to get that due respect from America, from the people of America, how they have twisted truths to close the door on us, how they have falsified reality to close the door on us, how they have come up with false classifications to block our progress. Then you should understand that the same mentality could remap the whole world to make us feel apart from each other when we're the same. Arabia is too close to Africa to not be our near relative. Too close. In fact, I believe I can jump from Arabia into Africa at certain points. Help yourself. Now, we can make this kind of progress with our thinking when our thinking is free. See, when your thinking is free, it gets wings like a bird. And it can soar up, it can go up in the air from the gravity of narrow-mindedness and take you to worlds unseen before and give you a bigger sense of God's purpose and God's creation, and you come back and look at the place where you just left, say, hell, this ain't big no more. I'll come to this task and do it. Well, see, my critics, those who wish me dead, now they got power because they wished me dead so long they got me with a backache and a bad leg. So don't think they don't have power. They got a little power. Yeah, those who wish me out of the picture wish that I go somewhere and just dry up or keep quiet, never be seen again. They wonder how come that man keeps an audience. How come he's still heard and paid some attention to in 1986? Then we thought that low-key, deadpan fellow would be out of the picture in about a year or two after the passing of his father. What keeps me in the picture? It's not my statue. I look pitiful. It's not my degrees. I have none. But the ones life has given me, I have no degrees. So what is it that keeps me? It is this freedom that I got. My Muslim thinking was too big for the family of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. The more I found the Muslim thinking from the Muslim source, the Quran, my Muslim thinking got bigger and bigger. After a while, it got too big for the Savior's Day convention. And I think I was as black as they come at one time in my life. I used to say it and believe it, that the black man is the originator, the owner, the maker, cream of the planet Earth, father of civilization, God of the universe. He knows every square inch of it. Yeah, I used to say that. I used to say that, and I used to believe it, and I used to feel good when I said that. Until I started trying to figure out the square inches of the rug that I wanted to put down on my floor. My Muslim thinking became too big even for the black race. Got too big for the family of the black race. And I said, well, this is it. I'm free. And having that freedom to come into a bigger concern than Savior's Day, than the family of Honorable Elijah Muhammad, than the Temple of Islam, into a bigger concern even than the African-American people, enabled me to come back and look at the Temple of Islam and say, hell, this ain't no big task. I can do this thing better. Came back and looked at Savior's Day. I said, hey, I can make a better day than this without even announcing it. And I have witnesses among the elders of our community, the pioneers, that we have now a bigger day than Savior's Day. Oh yes, we have a bigger day than Savior's Day, because Savior's Day was one day a year. And this new day that we have is every day, every minute of the day. It's a day where the sun does not set. Huh? Sun does not set. We go to sleep and the sun is still up. Yes, believe me. I get up from sleeping and I feel that I accomplished more in my sleep than many of us did in the days of the Savior's Day. Not to play it down, but just to pay up. To give attention, proper attention, to the value and power of universal vision. Now, dear people, we're talking about identity. When we come into the bigger identity, the identity that God intended for us, then we can handle the small local problems better. We'll find that our ability to command, take charge, and manage affairs, tasks, greatly improved. Greatly improved. we began to have the courage to take on more responsibility, to enter into bigger fields of work, greater and deeper concerns, it improves our sight, our view to ourselves. We begin to even see ourselves in a better light. Though we become universal in our thinking, we need to work. Work brings us into a situation where we can even see more than we saw before with the same eyes. Same eyes of universal reality, same eyes of universality, same eyes of the commonality of man. But when you do more, accept more responsibility, and do more, it brings you up like a person ascending a mountain. And though you had the same mind at the foot of the mountain, when you got at the top of the mountain, you saw a much bigger picture. Huh? Yes. What I'm saying here, I'm saying that there are a lot of factors operating in human life that are abstract, that are philosophical, sometimes also concrete, and they sometimes have more significance and will do more to improve your life than the things that are immediately disturbing you if you go directly to those things to try to bring your life into some kind of peace. What I'm saying is this: there is no revolution without a philosophy. A revolution without a philosophy is just like a revolution of the riverbed. What kind of revolution will take place on the riverbed? Huh? No, revolution must take place in your mind. And then it can become real outside of you. We are people that's been talking about revolution, evolving the black man, evolving the poor, changing America. Many are saying we ought to go back to the revolutionaries who began America and find the purity of their ideas to regenerate or to bring life back to America. That will help a great deal. But for many of us, the poor, the low performers, we have to do more than that. Our situation as citizens of this country is not the situation of people who came from Europe. It's not the same. The Hispanics, the Spanish people that come over here, their situation for them is not the same as the situation with the European people. The European people came here seeing themselves as the pioneers, as the innovators, as the creators of this. African Americans and Hispanics and some other minorities, we see ourselves as in this situation and having to deal with it. In this situation and having to deal with it. Too many African Americans right now are without a situation in their intellects or in their thinking, a situation in their minds to identify with America. It is hard for many African Americans right today, even Spanish people, to identify as Americans. The European white man that comes here, he has no problem identifying as America. America to him is his creation. It's quite different for us. Being able to identify with America as his own creation, he has an advantage over other citizens who can't identify in that way. Until the other citizens find a legitimate way of coming into equal ownership with the Europeans. And the only way to come into equal ownership with the Europeans, the only way to sense yourself an equal owner with the Europeans in the wealth, in the resources of America, you have to have a revolution take place in your mind. A revolution has to take place in your way of thinking. You have to believe as the Muslim believe. The earth belongs to Allah. You have to believe as the Muslim believe. The earth is Allah's mosque. It's his house of worship. The whole earth. Now we recognize men's claims. We recognize their claims. We are going to recognize that and respect that. But we have another reality that was existing before their claims that we also recognize. And in recognizing that reality, it gives us the same ability to work with America that the European had. Because originally this was man's property, not a European's property. You see how a new way of thinking can put you in a much better situation? They ask me, hey ma'am, how you doing? I say, fine, praise be to Allah. They say, well, ma'am, you know you've been working at this now for about 12 years. And it don't seem like we're going anywhere. I say, what do you think about it? I say, praise be to Allah. That's what the Muslim's supposed to say. No matter what the condition is, no matter how the picture looks, thank God. Because it could be much worse. And the reason why we can speak like that is because we have a view, we have a perception of our situation that keeps us hopeful. We know that man having created a problem too big for another man. Man cannot create a problem too big for another man. If that other man comes into the right perception of creation and his place in it. Oh yes. Muhammad Ali, look how successful he was as a fighter. Because that man believed that he was not inferior to a white man. And he believed that being a Muslim gave him disciplines that gave him an advantage over non-Muslims. That man had more than just his physical talents working for him. He had an energy also working for him. An energy, a great energy resource that said, you're better. You're more qualified. Now, we shouldn't come into no notion like that because when things change, it puts us in a situation where we can't face reality. Makes it very difficult for us to accept or face reality. So we don't want a false idea about ourselves. We want the right idea about ourselves. And if you get the right idea about your worth, your capabilities, your potential and your capability, if you get the right idea about it, the idea that God intended for all men, for all people, it puts you in a great situation. You don't walk in the classroom first day of class and take a back seat, and there are seats available all up there in the middle, even in the front row. There's just a lot of empty seats. Ain't nobody sitting up there in front. And the poor, downhearted African American come into the classroom the first day of school and sit in the back. No, when you get this new sense of your place in the world that God made, you walk up and look at the front row, and the seats up here. You're not intimidated anymore by the things that used to just overwhelm you, things that used to dwarf you. No, you're not intimidated by those things anymore. I look at a dictionary sometimes and I see all those big words in it, and if I didn't have this kind of faith and understanding, I would get discouraged and never open the dictionary again. But now with this new understanding of mine that I've had now for some years, the bigger the word, the more anxious I am to look into it. I said, what in the heck he got this 50-letter word for? Let me see if I can discover his game. Anytime you use a word that nobody can speak, you got a game or you crazy. So let's not be too occupied in finding our identity. But realize also that identity is a growing thing. And if you find it now, it may be a little bigger later or a little smaller later. You can come into a great idea of yourself, but if your performance is not trying to improve and trying to grow along with your search for identity, when you get the identity, you turn your head and it's gone. Like telling somebody you're great and they're going down. It's hard to believe. So if you want to hold on to your identity that's great, keep moving up. Keep moving up. And the more you move up, the more your identity will improve. Really, I can't come up with any fixed identity for us. I think we are the new race on the planet Earth. Yes. Why do I say that? Because we, Alex Haley, is that his name? He went to Africa. He said he found Kunta Kinte. But I don't know. I know he sold a hell of a lot of books. It had a great television presentation. I know that. And I know he listened to the ministers of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad talk about the good ship Jesus coming from Africa under the command of John Hawkins, and how they brought many Muslims over here. I know he listened to that talk long before he made his book. So, it puts me in a kind of different situation when it comes to accepting the things he wrote in the book. I've never seen him introduce Kunta Kinte or any descendants of Kunta Kinte since he made the book. Look like to me we should hear something about him living with some of Kunta Kinte's folks, since they were separated for so long. With all the money he made, he could bring a lot of Kunta Kinte's poor people over here and let them enjoy some of this too. That's right. I don't think I got anything against Alex Haley. My hat's off to it. Great intellect, great writer, no doubt. Great imagination, too. Now, maybe he was able to do it, but how many of us can go to Africa and find Kunta Kinte? Our Kunta Kinte. Well, I don't even know the country to go to on the continent of Africa. I don't know whether to go to Sudan or Kenya. I don't know where to go. Nigeria, I'm lost. I don't know where to begin to find my first African ancestor. It's so big of a problem until I don't even want to start looking. I just say, hey, you are my relatives. You're from my motherland. You my brothers and sisters. That's good enough for me. Say, well, when the family started, hey, leave that to somebody else. I'm too busy with the family problem, there and here. Yes. So Allah, he solves the problem for us. Allah knew in time that a lot of us would scatter all around the world. He said it. He made you one people. Then he made you into tribes and families, belonging to different lands and having different tongues and colors. For what purpose? That you may get acquainted with each other after being separated and come to know the findings of a Chinese that once belonged to the original family, and be enriched by the findings of a distant relative who was put into another situation, and he found truths and resources that you were not able to find, but you also have some that he has lost. So you show him your life, and he show you his life, and the two of you become better situated and more enriched. God say that you may become acquainted with each other, and not despise each other. God is addressing the tendencies toward racism, toward superiority complexes, that you may become acquainted with each other, not that you should despise each other. Then God has said the best of you is the one who is the most God-fearing. And we know the prophet taught us that. No superiority of an Arab over non-Arab, or non-Arab over an Arab. And no superiority of a white over a black, and no superiority of a black over a white. Now, isn't that a religion more easy to digest than what we were given before? I don't hear it. Is that okay? Because if you don't say it, I'm going to come out from another door on you. Now, I thought I came out a very nice door this afternoon, and let's keep it that way. That's right. That's right. Instead of concentrating so much on the race, let us concentrate on the community. Because Allah did not make man a race, he made man a community. And man made himself a race by trying to run to the goodies before his brother got there. When we concentrate on the community, we can beam in on it, and we can see what is the most important in community life for man. And the thing that is most important for man in community life is the beginning of community. And what is the beginning of community? Love for one another. Desire one to another. One for another. I desire your friendship. I desire your company. I'm lonely. That's the beginning of a community. I like your company so much, lady, I would like to marry you. I would like to make it a contract. That's the beginning of a community, isn't it? Then children come and we have a family. The first community of man, a family. So when we beam in on community as the most important perception for man, when he's trying to perceive what he is, he's community. And it's impossible for an individual to live anything except community. One Western educator, he said, giving an illustration, he said, who's that, Robinson Crusoe? Isn't that the man that was on the island to himself? Yes. He said that man, though he was on the island by himself, didn't have his nation, had nothing. But the study of his life while he was on the island is still the study of an Englishman. Do you understand? So you can take one individual African American, and if he wants to, he can say, hell, forget about this community, this collective thing. I'm going to take care of me and do my own thing. He can say that. But on his island, he cannot exist as one man. He has to exist as an African American. Because he will behave as an African American, he will show the behavior that he learned from his existence in a community of people. He will speak the language that he learned in a community of people. He will have the emotional responses that he learned or got from a community of people. He will be out there saying he's by himself in his own, while his whole existence will be saying, no, you're not. You belong to the African American. Well, that's important. Now, I'm not saying that we should see African American as our family. It is our family. It is our family. But that's not the point. I think we've been trying to do that too long. It has become a thing now that just, we can't get into it. We can't give it all we got. It's like doing something over and over again for days and days and days and not getting the result you want. You may be still doing it, but your heart ain't in it anymore. And I think for most of us, our heart ain't in magnifying the importance of race. I don't think our heart is in it anymore. When Marcus Garvey started doing it, his heart was in it. It was a need. It was a necessity. I believe when Elijah Muhammad was doing it, especially in the first maybe 4 decades of his mission, I believe his heart was really in it. But during the last 5 years or 10 years of his life, I don't believe his heart was really in it. I don't believe his heart was really in it. And we can stand up now and preach race consciousness all we want. We ain't going to do much with it because that's a horn we've been blowing for too long and not getting results. But what I'm saying is that you have to respect all existing communities. Your private life is a community. Your individual private life is a community. Because you have, praise be to God, praise be to Allah, thank you. Because you have in your private life the reality of the community that you belong to. And you cannot think privately without using the material that you got from that community you belong to. And you'll find that you have been traveling for all your years, whether it's teenage years or adult years or you're an old person, 90 years old. You'll find that you have been on a road, as the philosopher says. You've been on a long road, you've had a long journey, and you have come into different selves as you made that journey. The Jane or Jimmy Smith that crawled around on the kitchen floor or that played ball on the vacant lot may not be the Jimmy Smith or the Jane Smith that's now in college. Huh? Same geologically, in terms of genealogy, the same. In terms of continuous experience, the same. But in terms of personality, which is myself, may not be the same anymore. See, we can go on changing persons, changing personality. That's changing persons. Anytime you change personality, you have changed persons. We can go on changing personalities and nobody will say, hey, you got to have another name now. Only when you join an esoterical group or cult or something, huh? Then they say, well, now you've taken on a new idea and a new way of thinking and a new mind and a new personality. We give you a new name. From now on, you'll be called Joshua Kinnex. But nevertheless, in our journey up through the years, or down through the years, I like to say up through the years. When I get to be 100 years old, I don't expect to live that long, but I will not be shocked if I live that long. So I'm not saying it ain't gonna happen. Who knows? When I get to be 100 years old, I'll still be saying up through the years. Because it's my mind that has brought me up, not my flesh. So as long as my mind is moving up, I'm up through the years. I'm saying that to make you all want to live a little longer. We have too much to do around here for you all to start dying on us. This new generation ain't ready yet. To hang around here and save the future for the wasted generations. Although some of them are looking very good, they have a lot of hope in them. Yeah, some of these youngsters are really coming up right. Yes. But we have to see every community in our progression. Family, race, religion, in fact, is the biggest community for us. Family, race, nation, religion. Because religion is what brings us back into the universal community. Yes. So religion is really the biggest community. And we shouldn't forget that. Because at a time, this present time we're in, the nature of the environment works against natural forms of life. Man's environment that he is shaping works against natural forms of life. Man can go so far on his own, and he reach a point where his progress undermines his own good life and foundations. And we've reached a time now, and we talked about this many times, really it takes hours and volumes really to do justice to this condition that has come upon man. But let's see, can we in a couple of minutes explain what is happening? Farmers, they used to be natural farmers. They used to have a love for the land, a love for the environment, a love for their products, and that love was so great, they wanted to see people have that product just as they produced it. And they would fight pestilence. They would fight things that would contaminate that product, because to them, if it has defects in it, it's spoiled. They don't have no pride in it anymore. And now we have to get products that are loaded down with materials that were not made for consumption. And they do that because they don't want to have the spoilage. Right? So they got all those preservatives and etc. and germ fighters and pesticides and whatever to bring that product to the market looking pretty. Right? Yeah. Now they say they do that because it saves so much, eliminates so much spoilage. But let's look at that. Let's look at that in the light of something else, another reality. And that is the fact that the potential for the American farmers cannot be reached, because because the government said there will be too much. The government pay you not to farm certain acres, pay you to plow under certain crops. Huh? Yes. So if spoilage was the big concern, why is this reality existing? Waste. This nation is the biggest waster on the planet Earth. America, the biggest waster on the planet Earth. And just on that alone, I can see Imam Khomeini, may God preserve him and increase his life and increase his vision. Imam Khomeini, I can understand Imam Khomeini saying America is the big devil, the big Satan. Because our holy book tells us that the wasters are the brothers of the devil. That's what Allah says to us in our holy book. The wasters are the brothers of the devil. Now, if Satan got a brother, that's another Satan. Yeah. The wasters are the brothers of the devil. And we got so many wasters over here until it looked like the whole family is in America. So I expect to find the father and the mother of the devil too over here. Oh, please. Keep it peaceful. That's peaceful. That is peaceful. That's peace-loving, to tell the truth. And the best place to tell the truth is at home. If you can't tell the truth at home, you're in bad shape. And our country has a devil working in it. All this waste. The African American over here in America, President of America, we waste enough to restore the economy of certain nations in Africa and give them a good life. Yeah, we just take what we waste, and we over here crying the blues. If we just take what African Americans are wasting over here in America, and if we give that in dollar value to certain nations that need help in Africa, we can bring a strong economy, a strong life to some of those small nations of Africa, just with our waste. See, we got to live like the white man, like we imagine the white man lives. See, we imagine that the white man doesn't worry about $5. And all I paid was $5 for this fast food box. So we take a few french fries, we all sitting up looking all nice and everything, and maybe wearing a fine ring, and shoes probably cost $80. Had enough money to put holes in our nose and holes in the ears, and hang something on it. Yeah, so we sit there and we eat our chicken box or whatever it is. We take a few fries. I don't want no more of that. Took 2 bites out of the chicken leg, ate 4 fries, 1 bite off the biscuit, didn't even taste the coleslaw, left it all for the garbage can. It makes us feel good that we can throw away something. See, that's that old mind from way back, that unresurrected ancestor of yours, forefather, from the South. See, he never followed Marcus Garvey. He never followed Frederick Douglass. He didn't follow anybody. He just existed. And he recalls his existence. He recalled the master saying, when you clean these hogs, George, I'm going to give you some of it. And when he had been waiting so long for some of it, that he didn't have anything to throw away. So he ate chitlins, nose, feet, skins, everything. He even tried to chew the tooth of the pig. And he looked at the master throwing out stuff to his dog, and he wanted to run over there and get it before the dog got it, but it was embarrassing even for a slave. So he had to watch the dog chewing on the master's waist while his stomach was just boiling for it. Now you got that person in you in 1986. And you trying to satisfy that person instead of trying to satisfy the demands of your present situation in white, affluent, deceitful America. So without knowing it, the ghost of the plantation or the ghost of the slave field is bidding you, show off for me. Please, show off for me. I wish that one day I would have enough that I could throw away something too. Throw that chicken away. You don't need it. You ain't that hungry. So without knowing that the old ghost of the plantation or the slave field is communicating with you, you just respond. You throw it away. Get a 5-day notice. Got to get out of that house or the man gonna carry you to court. You never think about all that chicken and french fries and all that stuff you threw away. All the clothes you wore just for one time and put them away and then never look at it again. I just don't like that. I can't wear that anymore. They saw me in that last week. Come on with it. Well, you know, Allah says, think, for surely thinking profits. Huh? Oh, yes. God says to us in our Holy Book, think, for surely thinking profits. Yeah, it grows and benefits to you. And the Christians have a saying, as a man thinketh, so is he. So when we start thinking about the plight of the African American and the present day situation of African Americans with Reagan in the White House, we ought to remember, even us Muslims, remember the Christian saying, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. And God says never will he change the state of a people until they change what is bothering their souls. It should bother your soul that we are a welfare race and generation. It should bother your soul that we are 30 million strong in America in 1986 with every right legislated on the book that man could imagine with his law skills to protect us in America. In spite of this condition, we are still a dependent race in America, depending on who gets into the White House. A Jew is not depending on who goes into the White House. Cuban comes here. He doesn't fasten his eyes on the White House. He fastened his eyes upon opportunities for him to better his situation materially and every other way. And pretty soon he got enough substance down there on the ground level to justify him speaking on your level. And when you look at him, you say, hey, now the Cuban is speaking on our level. They're entering politics and demanding recognition with us. And you look at his circumstances and you find that you're up there and yet down beneath him. Because you haven't done first thing. That man did first thing. He didn't go up on a ladder that had one rung at the top. He went up on a ladder that had rungs conveniently for him at every place on the ladder. And then when he got to the top, he had something. You get to the top and have to fall down from way up there. Because you ain't got nothing down here on the ground. Nothing structured from the ground. Going up. Pitiful. Pitiful in 1986 that 30 million people, if we were still separated in this country, if the South was still Jim Crow, we should be in a much better condition as a people in America in 1986 than we are. Because we know people have come over here and they've had to carry the burden of not being wanted, not being socially accepted. Many of the Africans that come over here, they ain't liked either by certain people, certain races. Huh? The Haitians come over here, they weren't welcome. But some of the Haitians have taken an opportunity in a few years. They've taken advantage of the opportunity in America and have done more in a few years than we have done in 3 centuries. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. What does that mean? The thoughts that your heart creates forms you. You're jealous of each other. And that jealousy creates thoughts that form you. You're suspicious of each other. That suspicion creates thoughts that form you. It comes in the heart and it influences the thinking. And that thinking forms you. So we are distrustful people. We don't trust each other. No, I like the way you talk, but I wouldn't walk into the work field with you. I don't believe you can lead me economically. I don't believe you can lead me socially. We don't have leaders that are true leaders. If a leader is a true leader for us, not only the political leaders, the church leaders, I'm talking about leaders in academia, leaders in the public school system. If we really had true leaders, and I'm not attacking them, they can't be true because they don't know their situation yet. If we really had true leaders in the public school system, we will have a new policy, or they would be cast out. They would be rejected. We would have a new policy coming from them. We would have new treatment of the African American needs and mind. Yes. We would have new vision of what education should be for the student. We wouldn't just be recording and repeating what we learned from the white man. If we were true leaders, we would be looking at the situation as one who's a part of the people in the situation. Then you have to make that education serve the needs of these people in that situation. But instead of doing that, we do the same thing that the Uncle Toms did 25 years ago. We just imitate white man, imitate white authority, imitate them, and we think we have accomplished it all. I can talk like them, I can argue like them, I can do what they can do, so I've accomplished it all. No! When you take what they got and reform it, you improve upon it, you make it suit your needs and your condition, then you have done something. And that would be advancing your capabilities. That would be advancing your worth. That would be growing up. And that would be improving your identity. And the white man wouldn't look at us and see just a black race. You know, anytime a white man look at us and he's satisfied to call all of us just a black race, we know what he's saying? He's saying you are canceled out. Blackout. the learned white people in the leadership of this society. It should hurt them to see us come from Africa and identify as simply black people. Yes, that should hurt them. Look, if this is truly a great land, it should hurt every conscious white person seeing us in this condition for 300 years and better in this great land. Yes, our condition is a shame on us who know better, but it's a greater shame on the white man who knows better, because he takes pride in his great world and his great land. Your great world haven't been able to excite the intellect of African Americans, haven't been able to excite the intellect of black people to make them come into a philosophy of their own. Say, why we need a philosophy of our own? Because the white man's life, his sensitivity is contrary to your nature, contrary to your peace of mind. His whole makeup is an adversary in our life. I'm talking about the typical white man. His whole makeup is nothing but an adversary in our life. So we shouldn't have him in our life. We should have our own self in our life. I don't want to be a white man. Now, you know, if you see a house and you say, hey, that fella sure built him a wonderful house. Now, you can have him build you one, but maybe you don't want him to build you one. Maybe you want the same pleasure that he got from building himself one. Maybe you want to build yourself one. Now, if you want to build yourself one, you can't go get his bricks. You got to do just what he did. You got to get your own bricks. Go get your own bricks. Now, the white man has built more than just a house. He's built a world. Now, if you want a world for the African-American man, I'm not talking about getting out of America, jumping off the planet. I hope we ain't got nobody here that crazy. But if you want to build your world, you're going to have to go to the basis and come up from the basis with your construction. Then you won't be a copycat. You won't be an imitation of life. God, the great pretender. I'm about to conclude this. Praise be to Allah. Thank you. When we focus upon man's life as community life, and we come to the very first community that forms, family, and we begin to understand how that family has grown into nations, civilizations, great worlds, progressive worlds, then we can come back to our family and form our family anew. African American people, most of us, great majority of us, we need to form our families anew. The white man has brought us here. Suddenly we find ourselves cast in his theater, cast in his great drama. And we don't know how to write a play. We can't even think of that being our responsibility. We don't even know we are actors. We are like the bystander that gets into the film. And he sees himself there hand and say, hey, that's me. Yes, we need to redo the whole family. Redo the whole family. Some of us have tried to go back to Punta Kinte to redo the family. So let's have an African Christmas. That's not creative. An African Christmas. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. Then let's speak Swahili. That's no new creation. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Now, what we need to do to get a new family life, is to go back to the basis. Go back to the beginning of life for man. See yourself in the world before the white man did it up his way. See yourself on this earth with opportunities before the black man in Africa did it his way. See yourself before any man did it his way. See yourself through the scope provided by the Quran al-Islam. Allah in this holy book, you know what he tells us about our past? He says all of you are the children of Adam. And he was made from dust. This great revelation came to Muhammad the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, in a time called the Dark Ages. And the people of Arabia were deepest in ignorance and confusion. Their life was divided. They preyed upon each other. The males took the females as chattel property, just to have their pleasures on. Very few really respected the women as women should be respected. They were a peninsula, if we would use the right man's language, of warring factions with gang mentality, like the gangs you find in the big cities now. They would make each other pay duty, to pass over from one's territory into the other. They were turf conscious. One would command his turf and make the other one pay to come across his turf. That was the makeup of those people. They were boasters who boasted in a little sense, and were oppressed by great amounts of ignorance, and yet they were people who thought themselves superior. They thought they knew it all and had it all confused. Yes. And this prophet Muhammad, the last of God's prophets, the universal prophet, he came to them with the message of the Quran. And he didn't tell them the Arabs are great people. They were Arabs. The people that he immediately addressed were Arabs. He didn't say to them, you Arabs are great people. You have to know your past glory. No, he said what God told him to say. You all are the children of Adam, and he was made from dust. We need to stop looking for glory in our past. The glory in our past belongs to God. The glory in our future belongs to God. We need to stop looking to our past for glory and start doing something in the present to build a greater image for our race and ourselves. So look, it doesn't excite me to have you tell me that you used to be president of Yale University And now I see you out there laying in the gutter, puking on yourself, and acting like a fool with the rest of the bums. It doesn't impress me to tell me you used to be president of Yale University. I'd rather you tell me that you used to sell peanuts, roasted peanuts on the corner. Yes, because I can excuse you a little better for falling down on the gutter from selling roasted peanuts on the corner. Then I can excuse you from being the president of Yale University, and now you're out there slobbing on yourself and acting a fool with the bums on the street. So it does nothing for us to say we used to be great kings and queens in Africa. And he hardly can say it. We used to be great kings and queens in Africa, baby. Don't you know that, baby? Hell, baby. Ain't nobody impressed. So stop saying that. Say we were made from dust. And let's go back to dust and come up into industry. Talk about the great kingdoms we once had. Money, sunrise, give what you baby. Mother gives him a job sweeping the floor. He can't finish sweeping the floor. He takes a few whacks at it and there he go to smoke a reefer. And she come back and say, hey, I thought I told you to sweep the floor for me. He ain't got no explanation. Bragging about kingdoms of Africa and can't stay with a wife 2 years. Can't stay with a wife long enough to see the baby walk. Bragging about the past and filling up the white man's jails. Only about 1/13 of the total population, but got 60% of the prison house reservations. They reserved me a place there. Say, well, how many places you want for your race? Well, give me about 60% of the accommodations. That's a shame. It's a shame. It's happening because we're destroying the first unit of community. We're running away from the good sense that our parents are trying to give us. And the parents are fighting each other because they're too greedy, arguing over how much money. Well, how much did you make? Why don't you get you a job? Well, look, I'm working too, nigga, and I don't want you. Look, you better be careful how you spend that money. You gonna pay these bills. And the white man playing the game on all of us. Hispanics, African Americans, everybody playing the game on all of us. Right. Saying, well, we know they can't make it without 2 jobs. And if we give them 2 jobs, we know they got to neglect the children. Right. We know they ain't going nowhere. Right. What do you think of it? 2 professional people, they got their home. I wouldn't name them to save my life. You put a gun on my head, I wouldn't name them. Because I got to go back and live around them. 2 people that are married, bought their own home, raised nice children, sent them to college, and all they do is argue about who should be paying what. Both of them working. Both of them working. So they don't have anything. They just have an existence. They have an existence. They can pay their bills. They struggle, send a couple kids to college. They have a car. Both of them got nice cars. But that's it. That's it. That's all they got. Both of them professional people. Because both of them got to work outside the house. Now, I'm not saying that women shouldn't have the freedom to work. Certainly they should have the freedom to work. But they should also have the good sense, or should be taught the good sense, to put the value of their children's growth and development above them getting a few dollars more into the house. About 25 years ago or so, the average family was really poor. It was really poor. Now, we say we are a poverty generation and we have a lot of people poor, but if you bring the average person from the third world in here and let them look at our state, our parent state, they won't say you poor, they say you well off. You got a color television, you got a black and white television, you got radios, stereo, speakers all over the house. All the floors carpeted. I went into one of the homes of the poor, and I said, could I use your washroom? And I went in the washroom, and the washroom floor was carpeted. I said, I wonder what he does in here. Nice carpet on the washroom floor. Now my mother would, I don't care how much money she had, she would never put no carpet on the washroom floor. She'd rather have it hard surface so she can wash it up 2 or 3 times a day if she had to. Now how you gonna wash that carpet up? Gonna wait the next month to have Bouchelle come in and shampoo your washroom carpet. And got the smell of the urine that you dropped on it for a month. Maybe just sprayed it, deodorant on it. So we can't make the third world people see our poverty. We can't get them to see our poverty living like that. Poor and get out and start their car up, and you think a Rolls-Royce jet is being started up in front of the house. Boom, 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 boom. Poor black man. He hate Reagan. He hate Reagan. Now, if we can come back with good common sense to our family responsibilities and reject what the white man has given us as a pretense of success, reject his affluence, we should be living like the third world people, because our state is the state of third world people. And then you'll have more money in your pocket, you'll have more money in the bank, you'll have a much better situation for your family. At one time I started to ask our people to reject telephones. Don't you know a lot of people don't have telephones in the world outside of America? They don't have telephones. They have to get a cab or take a train to the telephone. All right, that's insane to talk about getting rid of telephones. Depending on what you're looking at. If you're looking with the eyes that the white man and world of affluence have given you, you say that. But if you're looking at the situation with the right eyes, with the eyes of common sense, you will understand what I'm saying. And you'll say, yes, that's not too drastic. We need to stop buying all these luxuries. If our state is really the state of a dependent people, dependent on white man and white taxpayers, if that's really our state, then we should stop living a life of luxury. If you got a big old car, cost $12,000. If you got a color television, cost about $700 or more. You got a refrigerator and a freezer, air conditioning, central heat and central air. The electric bill of people who's supposed to have made it gotten over. Huh? You turn your gas on because the central heat didn't make the house warm enough. You come in, it ain't warm enough. You turn the thermostat all the way up high as it'll go, still ain't warm enough. You go in the kitchen and turn on all the jets on the stove. And you pour. You can't pay your gas bill. You can't pay the telephone bill. You're a professional. You graduated from college. And you can't pay your utility bills. And when we look at your situation, we know how come you can't pay your utility bill. You're just wasting all your money. You're not living like the rich, you're living like crazy people. The rich don't live like that. If they had those kind of habits, they wouldn't have never become rich. Go to their home, they got the thermostat set on 70. Some of them got it on 65. They walking around in their home with sweaters on. Yes. Right. I'm talking about the rich. They walking around in their house with sweat on. You go to the poor black man with his big car in the front of his house, a big car in his garage. The two children, they got big cars that can't park on the block. Ain't no room. No room. And you go in his house, his thermostat is on 80. And he think he's a great big chief from Timbuktu or from somewhere. He's walking around in a house in the wintertime. It's about 5 degrees below zero. And he's walking around in a house with thin summer shorts on and some sandals he bought in Morocco. Can I take off some of these clothes? Yeah, baby, relax. See, the problem is we are living with a false reality. And we've allowed our minds to be taken over by a false reality. We're letting ghosts who were deprived of both sense and comforts whisper into our present mind and tell us, get a little more. Just show it off, baby. You never had it like this. It's pitiful. Some of us do it to rub the nose of the white man. I know it because some of you have told me that. I've asked them, I said, look, I said, now, can you afford a car like that? I said, you working just for that car. I said, man, I just like to pull up by Whitey, man, and look at him, man. And all he's doing is putting in the genes of that white man the sperm for another Reagan. Yeah, because if he doesn't get to the White House, pretty soon from his loins will come one that'll get there. And he's gonna pay that nigga back. Say, I'm gonna see how many big cars they can get under these conditions. wasn't for man having such a big jump on everybody, on the man who haven't gone anywhere, I would say, let's forget everything that has been done in the world, and let us pretend that nothing has been done. Let us start from day one and zero and build the world for ourselves. That's what I would say. But I know that has already been done. The world was started from day one. It was started from zero. And God advanced it to Muhammad the Prophet, praise be to Allah, and this Quran. So I'd be a fool to say, let's go back to zero. I don't have enough time to do what God has done over billions and billions of years. So I say, come to the Quran. Come to the Quran. It's an easy path. It's a clear path. I don't care if you belong to the church. Imam Waziruddin Muhammad, Deputy Muhammad, Wallace D. Muhammad, Wallace D. Pooh, I don't care what you want to call me, is inviting you to come to the path of the Quran, the path of God, the Quran. I'm inviting you to do that. Because the white man who denied us equality would not prepare a Bible that would put us on equal religious footing with him. Does that make sense? Does that make sense?
Go ahead.
I'll leave you with these last words. And it's about marriage. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, he said, whoever marries a woman in order that he may restrain his eyes from lusting and observe, I need my glasses just a moment. I made it for a long time without putting these things on. And observe caution and care for relatives. Allah puts a blessedness in her for him, and in him for her. So let us come back to the real purpose for marriage. You don't marry for immediate sensations, immediate sensual gratification. That's not what you marry for. I wish it was nothing but men in here.
Go ahead, talk.
That's why sometimes the men ought to get together by themselves and talk. Yeah, here's a time right now where I wish it was nothing but men in here. Because they know our story and I do too. And I think I can make this benefit here much more clear if I could talk to the men by themselves. So we don't marry for lust. We don't marry for girlfriends and boyfriends. Western society, it sensitizes you to even seek a mate, seek a wife or a husband to be your boyfriend and your girlfriend. You hear even the married people talking about now, am I your friend? They ain't satisfied to have a whole kingdom that they're ruling over, to pay bills and be officers over great interests. They ain't satisfied just to have that. They prefer to be boyfriend and girlfriends. You're supposed to be boyfriend and girlfriends before you marry. After you marry, you're supposed to be husband and wife. Now, what does that reveal to us if we can see? It says to us, even in Western civilization, until you accept responsibility for a social community, you are nothing but a boy and a girl. Because you can be 45 years old or 30 or 19 or 80. If you ain't married, you call that woman your girlfriend and she call you her boyfriend. Huh? Oh, this is my new boyfriend, honey. She's 90 years old. And he's 94. And she introduced, meet my new boyfriend. That's the language. The language has been fixed that way to tell you thinkers that you're not grown up until you accept responsibility for a social community. And family is the first social community that God created. And the Muslims, we are one family. We are one community. Allah says and the Prophet said, the Muslim is the brother of another Muslim. We are one community. We are one family. That's the big family. Muslims. And we belong to the total family of man. And we are in competition with the great seers, the great men of vision, the great nations of vision, who have come upon the globe to be of credit, to be of benefit, to be of use to the total globe, to all men. We're in competition with them. As I said in the early part of this talk, our declaration is a global declaration. God says he brought you out the best community, raised up for the good of all people. The prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, he said again, marriage is the half of the religion. That is half of the religious obligations. Prophet said this in Arabic. This is our English. Marriage is half the religious obligations. He says, let him who fears God, let him who fears Allah, be regardful of the other half. Be regardful of the other half. And the other half is to recognize God, to be constantly aware of him, not just to be aware of God and to have the fear of God in you, but to live the fear of God. See, being afraid of God and living the fear of God may be two different things completely. There are many people who will fear God if you bring God to their minds and conscience, but there are not many people who will live the fear of God. When Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon us, when he told us, behave as though you're seeing God, for if you are not seeing him, be assured that he is seeing you. He was telling us not just to fear God, but to live the fear of God. To live the fear of God. So half of the religious obligation is marriage. The other half is to live the fear of God. Because if you don't, you're going to lose marriage. And that's how come we've lost marriage. We've lost strong marriages. We've lost strong family life because we have not lived the fear of God. Let any African American live the fear of God and he will have a better family. He will have a good family. He will have a strong family. Because God will take away from you a no good mate if you live the fear of God. You won't die with that mate that never was a credit to you in your whole 50 years. Some of us stay with mates and they never contributed anything good to our life. For the whole 50 years we were with them. They did nothing but pull us down. Nothing but hold us back. Huh? No, if you live the fear of God, your distinct life, your distant life from that person's life will drive them away from you, and it'll be a blessing. If you live the fear of God, you will carry that awareness of your responsibility at home into the streets. And you will be a helper on the side of the fighters for justice, the fighters for decency, the fighters for moral life and human life. You'll be a fighter on their side because you'll know that your responsibility is not limited to your wife and your home and your children, but it has to be taken out in the streets. It has to be even taken to Timbuktu if it's still there. again, concluding this with the sayings of the prophet, peace and the blessings be upon him, he said, a believer is a brother of a believer. Hence, it is not lawful for him to bargain against a brother, nor make a proposal to a female until the other withdraws his proposal. Now think about that, brothers. The prophet has said we are brothers of each other. Muslims are brothers of each other. If you know a brother is interested in a sister, that he has indicated his interest to that sister, you do not go to her and approach her as long as he has not withdrawn. You respect him. You respect his right. He asked her before you. Now, even though you think you'll be a better husband, you think she'll like you better, even though you think she'll be more receptive, she'll receive you quicker, you don't do that. You respect your brother's right. And he approached her, leave the situation alone. Don't go and ask for her hand, and you know the brother already asked for her hand. Now, maybe he didn't say, sister, give me your hand. But you know he's indicated with his behavior to that sister that he's interested in being her husband. So don't you go show him now, I'm interested too. Some of us don't even get interested until another brother gets interested. We're not interested until another. We don't even see the sister until somebody else sees the sister. Then we see the sister. Now we want the sister. Now, if the prophet has given us that kind of discipline, that kind of behavior, that kind of respect in matters of marriage, then look at our behavior, brothers and sisters, before we even get married. My boyfriend, my girlfriend. Well, she likes me too. And I ain't gonna hold back for you. So now she got two boyfriends, right? She got two boyfriends, and we waiting for her to choose. Like that movie where the nymphomaniac had three boyfriends. I don't know what that movie was called, I forget the name. And all of them sitting up talking to each other. She invites them to a Christmas or Thanksgiving dinner. They're all waiting on her to decide which one she wants, while all of them going there with her at the same time. You know, that wasn't really a movie of no situation for a woman and three men. That was a movie of the African American community, national African American community situation. The community future is the woman. And the woman, the future it just wants to get it off. Just want to have a big bang. If we let our future become no more than a one-night stand, we're in bad shape. And many of us have allowed ourselves to come into that state of mind where we look to no future but a one-night stand. And there you got the essential spirit of the whole community going after that one-night stand. Wondering who she's going to choose. And she can't choose any of them because she can't be faithful to none of them. Yes, and that's how it is with us when we just looking for a one-night stand. We got our minds just on a one-night stand. That's all we're looking for. There are people in that state, they can't be faithful. Can't be faithful. Community can't be faithful to any of its earnest interests or concerns. Can't be faithful. Well, that's the way I see it. Muslims, then we should behave accordingly. It's not enough to say you're a Muslim and then behave like non-Muslims. That's hypocritical. You hurt the Muslims more by your behavior than the enemy can hurt us. Now, if you're a Muslim, live according to Muslim behavior. Peace and blessings be on the Prophet. He says, those who behave like other people are not one of us. So you call yourself a Muslim, but you behave like other people. We don't see Muslim behavior in you when we watch you and observe you. We see other people behavior in you. Then according to the Prophet, you are not one of us. And I don't see how you all think you can deceive a conscious Muslim. A conscious Muslim can't be deceived by something that's not Muslim. Your assalamu alaikum doesn't make me believe you're a Muslim. Your alhamdulillah and inshallah doesn't make me believe you're a Muslim. No. Your displaying concern does not make me believe you're a Muslim. If I see in you the spirit of other people and the behavior of other people whose life differs drastically from ours. I know you're nothing but a liar. You're fake. You're phony. You're a deceiver, or you're crazy. You got to be one of those things. A Muslim with no more than 2 grades education, who can't read, can see a non-Muslim. You can't deceive people. It's very hard to deceive people and make them believe you're a Muslim and you're not. Very hard. The only way you can deceive us is to really believe in God. If you really believe in God and you live the fear of God, then you might be a Jew, you might be a Christian, and you can speak our language and fool us. But if you ain't nothing but a common old street corner piece of dung, don't think you can fool anybody. Not a true Muslim, you can't fool them. Now, dear beloved believers, we conclude this today, and we hope that you will give thought to what was said here in Newark today. Go back over it. Start at the very beginning of what we had to say, and go through it again. Give thought to what we have said. And I believe that you will agree that this is the best way to improve the state of the low performer in these United States of America. Whether you be African American or Hispanic or whatever, Haitian or whatever, the best thing for us to do in this situation in America, if we are not children of the European, the best thing for us to do is to rethink this life, come to a universal idea, see with the eyes of universal man, and then come and deal with your present situation, your present problems, with that kind of perception. And if you do that, you will lose these petty sensitivities that we got that block the way of progress for us. You will lose also these burdensome passions we got that keep us from establishing ourselves economically. You will lose the excessive burden that is on the people that are poor performers, and you will see, before you realize it, you'll be surprised yourself. You'll be accomplishing things that you didn't imagine you could accomplish. You'll be winning friends that will be a credit to your life. But without that kind of thinking, it seems that you attract people that just make your life a little more difficult. So I say also you should start choosing your friends a little more wisely. Don't surround yourself with people that's going to put you in more hell. We got enough of that right now. Thank you. We pray God guide us always, and that you will accept my invitation to try the Quran, try Al-Islam, commonly called Islam in the Western language. Try it. Now, don't want to break up the church. Don't want to empty the church. But if you are empty, and the church can't fill you, can't fill you up, can't give you something in your emptiness, then come on away from the church and try something different. And believe me, the Quran is different. The Quran does not work a game on the inquirer. You open this book and you inquire, the Quran will not work any game on you. So I better tell you right now, if you ain't truthful, don't accept the invitation. If you know you're a liar and you're going to falsify your everything, you're going to look at truth and say, no, that ain't it. There's no need for you to accept the invitation. But if you have a mind to bring your best self forward, then I say pick up this book and try something different. This book is universal. This book is the word of Allah, the word of the Almighty Most High Creator. And this book puts the inquirer in a situation to renew himself, to truly be born again, to renew himself and put himself again in a situation for progress. Thank you very much. Peace and the blessings be on the Prophet, and may God bless us, the Muslims, to be worthy followers of his last and universal messenger, Prophet Muhammad. Ameen. Assalamu alaikum.
But time can be disaster if you don't so hard at times, and I don't know where to go, no, no. Sometimes I feel like giving up, but God knows I keep trying my very best, trying to find a peace of mind. I say time is the master, and time has no measure, and God just take it one day at a time. Soon I leave my troubles behind. Maybe I'm just a dreamer, hoping for better to come. From day to day, I'm always on the run, looking for a peace of mind, hoping to find a better way. I say time is the master, and time has no measure, so I just take it one day at a time. Soon I leave my troubles behind. I say Jah is the master, and He rules everything. If I continue to serve Him, yes, I know that I will win. Boy, Lord. With a spirit of noble endurance, I will continue, and I won't give up until the ending of my day. Maybe I am a dreamer, but I must find a better way, some way, someday. I say time is the master, and time rules everything, and I just take it one day at a time. Soon I leave my troubles behind. Time is the master, and time has no measure, so I just take it one day at a time. Soon I leave my troubles behind. Ain't no stopping me now. I'm moving on ahead. Victory will be mine at the ending of the day. With God by my side, I know peace will abide. So we're moving on. We've got in my heart. Oh, time, it's been too long. We've been going on the way we're going on. There's gotta be a time for change. Yeah. It's been too long. We've been going on the way we're going on. There's gotta be a time for change. It's been too long. We've been going on the way we're going on. There's gotta be a time for change, yeah. So long we've been going on the way we're going on. There must be a time for change, yeah. Time to know that we ought to live much better. Time to know that. Time to know that we can't do without each other. Time to know that. Time to know that we are a brother's keeper. Time to know that. Time to know ourselves. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We find time for work. working, sporting, whining and dining, negotiating, yes, wheeling and dealing, yeah. Time to explore the earth, moon and stars. I see many out there who find lots of time to make war. Tell me why can't they find the time for love? Yeah, yeah, yeah. There must be a time for change. It's impossible for things to stay the same. There must be a time for change when love will reign. Yeah, yeah. There must be a time for change. It's impossible for things to stay the same. There must be a time for change when love will reign. Yeah, yeah. We've been off the track for a long, long time. Some slipping off the line, still in D-style. Hey, watch the war on crime in a D-style. Yeah, wonders and its signs in a D-style. Yes, it's been too long. We've been going on the way we're going on. Time for a change. It might sound so strange somehow, but I think the time got to be now, now. Time to know that we ought to live much better. Time to know that. Time to know that we can't do without each other. No. Time to know that. Time to know that we are a brother's keeper. Time to know that. Time to know ourselves. Yeah, yeah. Too busy worrying about financial problems, house to build and land to share, where to go out to dress and what to wear. How about some love round here? Hey, there must be a time for change. It's impossible for things to stay the same. There must be a time for change, yes, when love will reign.
Season time culture expression, we're there with you and we're gone. You know, we're coming to do something and we've done it. And we say, give thanks to all those who keep listening to what we are dealing with. So, listen back and listen carefully. You know, listen back and listen carefully. And the two rhythms that we play, you know, I say them hit the spot, can't stop. So we say guidance, God willing, tomorrow. You know, if anything, you know what I mean? If it's God's will, we'll be there. You understand? You see sweet, beautiful Africa. So we say guidance. Mommy! Yes, mommy.